Broadcasts of HIKI NŌ are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through HIKI NŌ.
Next on HIKI NŌ, stories from across our island chain.
I think a good thing that Uber could do is actually have more of a process where they screen people to evaluate if they would be a good candidate for picking up minors.
Students and parents debate convenience versus safety when it comes to Uber and other ride-sharing services.
Meet a middle school mentor who found his true passion helping students put their technology talents to the test.
We'll open up the HIKI NŌ vault to revisit an inspiring teacher who motivates students to step up their musical talents.
Find out how a Farrington High School alum devotes his life to preserving the school's history and promoting its reputation.
Learn why some students become bullies and how to protect yourself when confronted with this aggressive behavior.
Meet a Kauai student who overcomes life's challenges while practicing her cultural traditions through Tahitian dance.
And find out how a Big Island athlete conquered her own physical limitation in order to beat the competition.
Stay tuned for these stories and see how the schools with stories in this show make the most of their libraries.
All on this episode of HIKI NŌ.
Can do!
Welcome to Sacred Hearts Academy, located in the heart of Kaimuki on the island of Oahu. Throughout this episode of HIKI NŌ, you'll find more about how school libraries play a role in our schools. At our school, student bookworms read through 2 libraries, one in the lower school and another in the upper school. Both libraries offer a wide range of books for every type of reader, from the romantics to the researchers. They skim through physical books or even scroll through ebooks. But beyond the books themselves, Lancers use our libraries to get hands-on in the collaboration room and the green screen room, where Hollywood comes to the Academy through student-produced films and animations. In the lower school, our little Lancers do everything from helping organize books to making mini movies for the Digital Media Club. And, if you're lucky, you can even sit in on story time with our lower school librarian. The following feature by our HIKI NŌ reporters takes you on a drive through ride-sharing apps and the trend of teens using them to get around town.
From sports to after-school jobs or simply hanging out with friends, a student's day can fill up fast. Without a car or driver's license, many view the popular ride-sharing service, Uber, as a quick and convenient way to get around.
I do prefer Uber over the city bus just because the placement of the bus stops aren't conveniently by my house where I can just walk and take one bus down to my location. I have to take multiple transfers.
With extracurriculars, like maybe someone missed the bus to go to a certain place with the rest of the group, or if there isn't enough room and they won't have time to come back, you can take the Uber to get there in time.
What students and even parents might not know is that Uber has an 18 and over policy that requires all riders under the age of 18 to be accompanied by an adult. Sacred Heart's parent, Mrs. Stella Silva, supports this policy as a way to keep her daughter safe.
I think teenagers shouldn't use Uber by themselves. For one, we don't know the person driving the Uber car personally, so therefore they're a complete stranger. We don't know how safe their driving is, and who would be responsible if there was for instance, a car accident. Who would be responsible for my child? And what would happen to them.
Despite having the policy in place, some students and parents, such as Lexi Freitas and her mom, support the use of Ubers by teens.
The benefits for taking Uber is that if the parents aren't able to take you, and if you don't know routes for the bus, you can give the Uber the exact location that you want to go.
Children are so involved with extracurricular activities, and there's so much more involved in being a parent nowadays. Everybody needs to work. It's nice to just have that, in case of emergency, being able to use Uber.
There are consequences for those who disregard the policy. In a statement, Uber says for drivers to ask them to confirm their age and let them know that they will have to cancel the trip if they are indeed under 18. Our 24/7 customer support team reviews that feedback and takes the appropriate actions, which can include removal from Uber. But some passengers and even drivers like Bernadette Rosano believe this policy should change.
I think a good thing that Uber could do is actually have more of a process where they screen people to evaluate if they would be a good candidate for picking up minors. That way, if that selection is picked, there's more of a safety net for parents to know that they're being picked up by somebody that has been vetted by the company and is good with minors.
In response to re-evaluating its minor policy, an Uber spokesperson said, "In a few markets, we recently tested a program where teenagers aged 13 through 17 could ride with Uber unaccompanied using a teen account that's connected to a parent or guardian's family profile."
I think it's good for high schoolers to have a mode of transportation that allows them to get safely from point A to point B, and using technology is a good way to do that.
Even if Uber does one day change its policy, some parents will remain cautious.
Still no, because I have no idea personally about the Uber driver. I think it's more on a personal level when you let them go with the Uber driver.
I'd like to know what precautions they're taking as far as the identification and age of the student. So I'm not sure how the app is a little bit different for their accounts. I would like Uber to provide maybe a little bit more information. I think it might be a good thing.
This is Rebecca Meyer from Sacred Hearts Academy for HIKI NŌ.
For show updates and a peek behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram at HIKI NŌ Can Do.
Aloha, I'm Michaela Vaughn, and we're here on the campus of Maui Waena Intermediate School in central Maui. About 30 years ago, this area was nothing more than an empty lot. But now, this school is one of the largest in the state with over 1,100 students and 60 teachers. Our school library is the heart of the school. During the school day, students come to the library to read books and magazines, do research for their projects, complete homework, and listen to recorded books. It is also used for meetings, testings, and after-school programs like Uplinks. The following story, produced by students from Maui Waena Intermediate School, is about an electrical engineer who spends his evenings getting students geared up to compete in robotics.
My name is Don Suzuki, and I'm an electrical engineer by day, but after hours I am the mentor for the Maui Waena Middle School's robotics team.
However, his life wasn't always this way, as something caused him to switch gears.
Actually, my son inspired me to do this. My older son Nathan, when he was going to middle school, he had joined a robotics team. I really knew nothing about it, but when I saw him in his first competition and I saw how unprepared they were, I felt that if that was something he wanted to do, to actually have the best opportunity, so I decided to get involved. And I just jumped in head first, and here we are today, 10 years later. Never in my life had I ever dreamed that I would be helping middle school kids, especially in robotics. Teaching robotics is giving me so much more balance in my life because I found out there's so much more in life than money. And now it's all about, I guess, helping prepare the world for a better future by giving students the abilities to go out and succeed in the world.
Because of his experience, his students often look up to him to crack the code.
I think that it's important to have helpers like Uncle Don, because if we can't spot something that's wrong in a piece of code or with the robot, but he can, he helps us to figure it out what's wrong.
Looks like 3 robots. I think coaching robotics helps to teach the kids to have grit, the ability to withstand any kind of challenge, to stand up to it and to overcome your obstacles. And that is so critical in the workforce today. I find that a lot of the job seekers nowadays, they don't want to push themselves to excel in their choices. And what I found is through the robotics programs, all these kids are very highly motivated.
And this motivation shows, as they're one of the only middle schools competing against high schools in statewide Hawaii competitions.
I hope I encourage them to pursue their dreams, to know that hard work pays off, to know that if they want something bad enough and they try hard enough, they can achieve anything in life. I enjoy giving back to the students, and hopefully one day it'll make me very proud to see the students I help today going out, becoming successful, and going back to help other students in the future.
This is Hannah Okamoto from Maui Waena Intermediate School for HIKI NŌ.
Now, let's open up the HIKI NŌ archive to recall how the marching band director at Seabury Hall Middle School on Maui shares his passion for music with his students and the entire school community.
Seabury Hall is the only middle school on Maui with a marching band, and it's all thanks to a teacher who took an unusual path through the director's podium.
I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and it's way different than Maui. Quite honestly, when I was a kid, this is what I envisioned heaven to be like.
Mr. Richie Franco has been the Seabury Hall band teacher for the last 9 years, but teaching music wasn't always his ultimate goal. Right after graduating from high school in Chicago, Mr. Franco enlisted with the Marines.
The biggest thing about boot camp is it's nothing but drill. You march everywhere, and the main thing about it is the discipline.
After serving 4 years in the military, Mr. Franco returned to Chicago and worked as an entertainer in a Latino band.
My band Own It, we played pretty much every bar in Chicago. Any music venue in Chicago we played. One of the biggest and best was the Double Door.
His love of music inspired him to want to teach, so at the age of 36, Mr. Franco went back to school to earn a degree in music education. Mr. Franco's first teaching job was at an inner-city Chicago middle school.
And you had to go through metal detectors to get in. Then I came to Seabury, and it was kind of night and day.
However, when Mr. Franco started teaching at Seabury in 2006, he found that the challenges of teaching middle school are the same no matter where one teaches.
But in middle school, it's really hard to have that discipline. So that's one of the main reasons why they don't have marching band in middle school, just because of all the focus that it entails.
Seabury did not have a marching band, but Mr. Franco thought that that could change. He brought his experience with military and music discipline to the field.
The discipline you get in the Marines is what I've passed on to my kids, to the middle school marching band.
Up, down, up, down.
Mr. Franco assigned me the role of being a leader of my section. I needed to act as a role model so that other people can try and follow me.
Mr. Franco taught me better techniques for playing my trumpet, and I learned how to play and march at the same time, and I gained a deeper love for music.
Marching band has changed, not just the students, but Mr. Franco as well. We asked him what has been his most effective teaching method.
I honestly used to think it was yelling, and I'm very ashamed of that. It's being compassionate and showing the kids you do understand. So it's just being patient and sympathetic with them and letting them know it's not easy.
The Seabury Hall Marching Band plays at school, sporting events, and community parades. They are most proud of their performance in the Honolulu Festival Grand Parade.
It was just so cool because it was a huge parade, and for a mile, the streets were lined with people. They played, and you would never know the beginning from the end because they sounded just as strong at the end as they did in the beginning. That made me very proud.
Thanks to Mr. Franco, we all look forward to every special event that our marching band plays at. This is Lucas DiMartino from Seabury Hall Middle School for HIKI NŌ.
Next, from Farrington High School on Oahu, we meet an alum who devotes her life to preserving the school's history while spreading positive messages about the Farrington Ohana.
They kind of have a negative thought about it. Like they ask, oh, aren't you afraid to go to work every day?
People that are not from Kalihi may think that we are a rough neighborhood.
When people think about Farrington High School outside of our Farrington community, they think about the fights, they think about any negative past media reports that we would have had, or they always think that the police are always here.
For those of us who have grown up in the Kalihi community, Farrington is nothing like what the outsiders to the area may think. Behind the misunderstandings and judgment, you'd be surprised to know that the students at Farrington are diligent and hardworking. Farrington students and proud alumni have pride in their community, and people like Farrington historian Al Torco play a big role in reminding students to never forget where they came from.
First thing when I think of Al Torco is Farrington. Al Torco is Farrington.
A proud 1957 Farrington graduate, Mr. Torco has been active in the Farrington Alumni and Community Foundation for 41 years.
any subject, any person, anytime, I'm willing to share with our school or with you students, because my goal is to write the history. It's in entirety till, I've been collecting forever, as long as I can remember. I can share my expertise. I want to be an expert at Farrington High School. Wonderful to have actual things that, our students today can see, hands-on archive things instead of just pictures.
He continuously gives back to the school, sharing valuable stories of Farrington's accomplishments and unique memorabilia, allowing students to generate a feeling of pride and appreciation for their school and community.
What does Farrington mean to me? Family.
Al Torco's Stories in Love will continue to inspire students as the negative image of the past evolves into something more positive. Students now have the opportunity to take AP and early college classes, as well as experience new facilities and programs. In 2017, Farrington was designated a model school by the International Center for Leadership in Education. Although it will always have a tough reputation, it is Kalihi's best kept secret. This is Chelsea Tahan from Farrington High School for HIKI NŌ.
We're here on the campus of Montessori School of Maui near the town of Makawao in upcountry Maui.
Norma J. Barton was the mother of one of our founders. 20 years ago, she volunteered to create a library for our school so that all of the students would have access to the books on campus. Our school library has over 9,500 books, which can all be accessed and checked out using our online database. The oldest book in our library is 119 years old. Published in 1899, it was the Bishop Museum's full catalog of items under its possession. The Norma J. Barton Library is also used by our yearbook committee. They have weekly meetings in the library because it is a quiet place to get a lot of work done. The following story by students from the Montessori School of Maui shows us how to understand and address the issue of bullying.
Bullying is a common problem in many people's lives. The simple definition of a bully is a person habitually cruel to others who are weaker. Often, these people are called victims. Bullying is the actions of a bully, which might be physical, verbal, or even digital. Bullies do not always hate the victim. A bully may lack the emotional power of making people upset. Bullies may be having a hard time in life or being bullied themselves, which is why they are cruel to others. Ways to handle bullies include not fighting back, always telling an adult so they get help, and ignoring threats. People being bullied should be true to themselves by listening to the good in their heart. Other people in the world are not in charge of their lives. People all around the world must attempt to live in a peaceful environment. Everyone should be kind to one another. This includes helping other people being bullied by standing up for them. Together we can end bullying. This is Logan Chong from Montessori School of Maui for HIKI NŌ.
We're back on Kauai's east side at Kapa'a High School. Kapa'a High School students currently use the library for computer access, research, and a quiet place to study. On our campus, digital textbooks and e-readers have become more popular than hardcovers and paperbacks. Our school currently shares its library with younger students that attend the neighboring Kapa'a Elementary School. A new library is currently in development for Kapa'a Elementary, and the existing library will eventually be dedicated for high school use. The following personal essay from students at Kapa'a High School on Kauai offers one performer's unique perspective into her world of Tahitian dance.
Dancing isn't just a dance. It's an escape, a happy place, and most of all, the reason I know my culture. For as long as I can remember, I've always been dancing Tahitian, and I still love every second of it. I started dancing when I was only 3 years old. It takes hard work, dedication, and a whole lot of motivation. Dancing Tahitian has turned me into the person I am today, I dance and continue to dance to keep the traditions of my family alive and thriving. If I could dance for as long as I live, I'd dance every hour, every minute, and every second of every day. When I feel lost or overwhelmed, I hit the dance floor and suddenly all of my worries go away. Growing up on the island of Kauai is the experience of a lifetime, surrounded by beautiful creations, family, friends, and the culture of my ancestors. Being raised with Tahitian as my #1 priority, I've learned to take control of many emotions and find a way to incorporate them into my dancing. Dancing Tahitian has brought me so many different opportunities and has brought me into so many different places around the world. I've danced in Tahiti, Oahu, and the Big Island. Growing up as a dancer, I've learned to be graceful, humble, and responsible. Over the years, Tahitian has made me more confident, stronger, and more involved with my community. It is a stress reliever that teaches me to be courageous, helps me channel my feelings into positive movements, and overall, it shows me the better side of life. Outside of Tahitian, I am faced with unique challenges and struggles that I'm prepared to overcome and face head-on because of what I've learned from Ori Uvira. Ori Uvira, which means to dance in the lightning, is a dance school where I've pursued my passion. Being raised without a father and with my mother an island away, the biggest role models in my life are my grandparents. I've taken my struggles and hardships by full force with the love and continuing support of my family and friends. I know I can succeed at anything. Growing up with Ori Uvira has been one of the most encouraging and inspiring impacts on my life. Marururoa to you from the bottom of my heart. Ori Uvira, you have been the strongest role models for me to look up to. Wahere wau ia oe. I love you.
Aloha, I am here in the library at Waiakea High School, located on the east side of Hawaii Island. Waiakea High School is proud to be a smaller learning community school. When we transitioned into an SLC school in 2003, Mrs. Gloria Kobayashi, our librarian at the time, created these banners that identified alumni in various occupations. The purpose of these posters are to help students identify familiar faces with occupations that are in the various career academies they may be interested in. Over 100 former students are featured and include occupations such as WNBA referee, film producers, and professional athletes. The students of Waiakea Digital Media produced the following story about a fellow student athlete with a big heart who refuses to step down from tall challenges.
In a sport where height is an advantage, senior libero Jordan Hayashi always finds a way to go big despite being so small.
I am 5'3". I try to play as if I'm 6 feet tall. I started playing volleyball because I used to watch the UH Manoa girls volleyball team play, and I just fell in love with how fast the game was, how every play mattered based upon one person. I go big by just saving all the balls I possibly can.
On Thursday, October 19th, 2017, Jordan and the rest of her team, the Waiakea Warriors, competed against their crosstown rivals, the Hilo High Vikings, in the Big Island Interscholastic Federation Championships, or BIFs.
Before the championship game, I honestly felt like it was just another game. When we were down 2 sets, I thought we were gonna lose. The thing that changed my mindset was the fact that we were playing in our home gym for championships. I was not about to lose in my home gym, especially because it's my senior year. The 4th and the 5th set, we kind of changed the way we were looking at the game. Instead of trying to play like we don't want to be the one to make the mistakes, we wanted to be the one that would make them make the mistake.
Not willing to go home defeated, the Waiakea Warriors held their ground and with determination made a remarkable comeback and ended the game victorious.
meant the world to me. It was my senior, this is my senior year, and we won BIF championship, Division 1 too. The fact that we lost during regular season twice against them, and we lost last year for BIF championships, it just made the win so much better.
Although Jordan is not the ideal height for volleyball, she proves that it's not about the size of the player in the fight, but about the size of fight in the player.
This is Emily Tsuji from Waiakea High School for HIKI NŌ.
Well, we've come to the end of this episode of HIKI NŌ.
Remember, all of these stories were written, shot, and edited by students like us.
We hope you've enjoyed watching them as much as we've enjoyed sharing them with you.
Tune in next week for more proof that Hawaii students HIKI NŌ
can do.
Broadcasts of HIKI NŌ are made possible by the support of viewers like you. Mahalo. And by Bank of Hawaii Foundation, investing in Hawaii's future by promoting collaboration, critical thinking, and other 21st century skills through HIKI NŌ.